On the show in Wheelspin, we drive the recently launched Maruti Suzuki Ciaz. In Wheelspin, we drive the Skoda Rapid as it gets a new diesel engine along with an automatic gearbox. On the road, we drive the Hyundai Grand i10 from Mysore to Ooty. Maruti Suzuki, India's largest car manufacturer, is well known for their small cars and is a key player in the compact segment. But that does not stop them from aspiring for a slice of action in the bigger C or the mid-size segment. They had earlier launched the Baleno and the SX4, but now both these cars are history and they are making another attempt to enter the C segment with their latest offering, the Ciaz. The question now is, will this Ciaz fulfill Maruti's aspirations of being a key player in this segment? Well, let's find out. In Maruti's lineup, the Ciaz will be the biggest car, and when I say big, it doesn't really mean very big, because the Ciaz measures in at just under 4.5 meters, but it's bigger than what would be its main competitors like the Honda City or the Hyundai Verna. And the flowing lines on the Ciaz ensures that it looks big enough to attract a premium car buyer. Maruti, in its over 40 years of existence in India, has hardly had any presence in segments above the B, so it does have its stars cut out to attract buyers who are looking for a biggish car which is well made but also has a brand name to back it up. Consequently, Maruti has gone flat out to give the Ciaz everything they got and to make it an attractive proposition. The Ciaz here is a completely new car sitting on a completely new platform, and there are hardly any design carryovers from the SX4. How you like the design, I leave that to you to decide. But as far as I am concerned, this looks predictably like a Maruti. Very conservative in terms of styling, lacks the design flair of the flamboyance, but then it is designed probably to please many rather than excite a few. A very typical Maruti thing to do. Well, if in Ciaz, Maruti hasn't given us the best looking car here, then what they have done instead is what can be called the USP of the car. In spite of the fact that it's not a very big car, it still shows that it has been cleverly designed to give what is needed in a car the most: space. The wheelbase is 2,650 millimeters, which is again more than what you would find in many C-segment cars. And another thing Maruti has done to the Ciaz is to give it lots of bells and whistles. So if you are used to the feature-starred Maruti cars, then you will be pleasantly surprised at what the Ciaz will offer you. It's the interiors of the Ciaz which is a major departure from any other Maruti car that you might have driven recently. Maruti, in an attempt to make it a little more upmarket and premium, has given it all it's got, and the result clearly shows. The interiors are really nice, plush and very comfortable. This top trim that I'm driving, the ZXi Plus, comes with leather seats, a leather-wrapped steering wheel with multifunction buttons on it. The instrumentation is chrome ring, looks quite nice, and there is a large big display here. Okay, the display here is being a bit temperamental today. It comes on and goes off for some reason, but what it does is gives you a host of information which you will find very useful, and it also shows the display of the reversing camera, something which will come in very handy when you park the Ciaz in a crowded market. And what really pleases me is to see that not only a lot of features have been added onto this car, but the build quality too has improved significantly. The best is reserved for the second box of the car, the rear seats. The Ciaz sits on a wheelbase 2.6 meters and is also the widest car in its segment. And the result is quite obvious. Even if you are built along the lines of a sumo wrestler, you will feel no dearth of legroom, headroom or shoulder space. In fact, if space is what you're looking for, then I would say look no further, because no other C-segment car even comes close to the Ciaz in terms of just backseat space, and all this looks quite tastefully done too. So I think the backseat of a Ciaz would be a nice place to spend time in. Add to this little things like rear AC vents, a power socket, bottle holders, and large window here which permits a lot of sunshine to come in, and this makes the cabin a rather cheerful place. As to be expected, the Ciaz will be available with both the diesel and the gasoline engines. While the gasoline engine is the K-series engine, the latest one which has been worked on in terms of the Wwatch, and obviously this has improved to make the drive much more efficient and smooth. But the diesel still comes from Fiat, the 1.3-litre multijet, which too has been retuned and remapped for this car. But what Maruti has done, and it seems quite impossible at first glance, is to extract the kind of fuel efficiency which is absolutely class-leading. The gasoline engine here gives a fuel efficiency of over 20 kilometers to a litre, which again is a class-leading thing. But it's the diesel which really takes you by surprise, and a pleasant one at that. The fuel efficiency is over 26 kilometers, and this is not only class-leading, but I think this is what might turn the Ciaz into a complete winner, because there are plenty of buyers in this segment who are looking at fuel efficiency as their topmost priority. What I'm driving is the gasoline engine, what Maruti calls internally the K14 series engine. And Maruti claims that they have done a lot of work in terms of reducing the NVH. But as I drive this car, I realize that this certainly isn't one of the most refined or the smoothest engine I have ever driven. In fact, when you fire the engine initially, it sounds quite rough and harsh. But as the revs build up, it tends to get smoother. And if you use this car on a regular basis, I don't think you will mind this slight lack of refinement, because what you will focus on is the fuel economy. And if the Ciaz gives anything close to 20.7 kilometers to a litre as claimed in the ARI certification, then I think you would be a happy man, because that's really good for a car this size and with so many features in it. This engine is mated to a 5-speed gearbox, and all of you are used to driving Maruti of the older days. You will recall that what a joy it was to use that gearbox from Suzuki. Suzuki in fact made some of the best gearboxes in the business. The gearbox here does the job sufficiently well. It's not really bad, but what you will miss if you are used to a Maruti is the gearboxes which were super refined and slotted in so very well. The pleasure of gear changing is not there in this car. I think the suspension is tuned quite right, the handling is not too bad, and neither is the ride quality. In fact, if you spend time on the back seat, chances are that you would be quite a happy man. The Ciaz here on the top trim, the ZXi Plus, rides on 16-inch wheels as compared to the 15-inch wheels on the lower trims. And I think the 16-inch wheel has added more stability to the car, and you can feel the difference, especially when you're cruising on the highway or cornering hard. After having spent some time with the Ciaz here, now it's time for me to give it a scorecard. To begin with, if I were to rate it in terms of handling, performance, drivability, I will give it a B. In terms of design, I will again give it a B. But where I will give it top marks and an A is in terms of fuel efficiency as well as space. And considering that this is a very important criteria for most buyers in this segment, this can be a deal clincher actually for the Ciaz. But one more important thing remains, and that's the price. Maruti has positioned this car as a premium car that's packed in a lot of features, and now the challenge for them is to price it right. So let's see what the price looks like. If you were expecting competitive prices just because the Ciaz bears the Maruti logo, then you will not be disappointed, because the Ciaz is priced very well for a car this size and with so many features as well. And it looks like the Ciaz might just take the competition home to some of the other brands and do for Maruti what it has so far failed to do, which is to create an impression in the big car segment. The Ciaz will be sold in 6 trims for the petrol variant, including an automatic as well. And for the diesel, it will be available in 4 trims to give you enough choice to pick the one that will suit your needs. The prices start at Rs 6.99 lakhs for the base petrol, while the diesel will be priced at Rs 8.04 lakhs. Coming up next, in Wheelspin, we drive the Skoda Rapid as it gets a new diesel engine along with an automatic gearbox. On the road, we drive the Hyundai Grand i10 from Mysore to Ooty.